The Atlantic Ocean, a vast expanse stretching from the frozen reaches of the Arctic to the icy embrace of the Antarctic, is not merely a boundary dividing continents. It is the living, breathing heart of our planet, a colossal, ceaseless engine that orchestrates the pulse of Earth's climate, weather, and life itself. Its surface, ever restless, is sculpted by planetary winds and the gravitational pull of the Moon, creating tides that surge and retreat with clockwork precision, shaping coastlines and nourishing estuaries. Each moment, the Atlantic's waves and winds transfer immense energy across thousands of kilometers, fueling the birth of cyclones, sculpting remote islands, and driving the exchange of gases between ocean and sky. The ocean's surface acts as a vast lung, absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen, regulating the very air we breathe. Beneath the waves, titanic currents like the Gulf Stream surge northward, transporting vast quantities of tropical heat toward Europe. This river within the sea is part of the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation, a planetary conveyor belt that redistributes warmth and nutrients, driving the global climate engine. As warm, salty water travels north, it cools and sinks, plunging into the abyss and flowing back toward the equator, setting in motion a cycle that can take centuries to complete. This intricate choreography of water and air ensures that Europe's winters remain temperate, buffered by the ocean's warmth, while the tropics pulse with life, energized by the sun and cooled by oceanic breezes. The Atlantic's invisible hand moderates extremes, weaving a climate tapestry that sustains forests, grasslands, and deserts alike. Far below, the Atlantic's floor is a realm of perpetual night, where towering mountain ranges and yawning canyons create isolated worlds. Here, hydrothermal vents erupt with superheated, mineral-rich water, sustaining entire ecosystems of bacteria, tube worms, and crustaceans, life forms that thrive without sunlight, drawing energy from the Earth's inner heat. Many of these creatures remain undiscovered, their secrets locked in the darkness. The Atlantic's living tapestry is woven from the tiniest phytoplankton, microscopic plants that harness sunlight and form the foundation of the marine food web. These blooms feed vast schools of fish, which in turn sustain dolphins, sharks, and the largest animals on Earth, the great whales. Kelp forests and coral reefs provide shelter and breeding grounds, while migratory species traverse entire ocean basins, guided by ancient instincts and the subtle cues of temperature and salinity. The Atlantic's heartbeat is echoed in every hurricane that spirals across its surface, every iceberg that melts into its northern reaches, subtly shifting the balance of salt and fresh water, and every drop of rain that falls, completing the endless cycle of evaporation and precipitation. These processes drive the water cycle, nourish distant continents, and influence weather patterns across the globe. To truly understand our planet, we must attune ourselves to the Atlantic's mighty pulse, a force that connects continents, shapes ecosystems, and preserves the memory of Earth's ancient past within its sediments and currents. The Atlantic is not just a body of water. It is the planet's circulatory system, sustaining life, regulating climate, and holding mysteries yet to be revealed by science. Beneath the ceaseless motion of the Atlantic's surface, a vast and intricate system operates with silent precision. The Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, or AMOC, is more than a current. It is a planetary engine, orchestrating the transfer of heat, salt, and nutrients across hemispheres. This immense conveyor belt, stretching from the equator to the polar seas, is responsible for redistributing energy on a scale that dwarfs any terrestrial force. The AMOC's influence is so profound that it determines the climate not only of bordering continents, but of regions thousands of miles away, shaping the very patterns of life on Earth. At the ocean's surface, the Gulf Stream emerges as a powerful artery of warmth, channeling tropical heat northward. This current, moving at speeds of up to 6 kilometers per hour, carries more water than all the world's rivers combined. As it flows, the Gulf Stream releases vast quantities of heat into the atmosphere, moderating the climate of Western Europe and preventing the continent from succumbing to the icy grip of latitude. Without this oceanic lifeline, cities like London and Paris would experience winters as harsh as those in northern Canada. The Gulf Stream's warmth also fuels the formation of clouds and storms, influencing rainfall patterns and the frequency of extreme weather events across the Atlantic basin. As the Gulf Stream's journey continues, its waters cool and grow denser, eventually reaching the frigid margins of Greenland and the Labrador Sea. Here, a remarkable transformation occurs. The cooling surface water, now laden with salt, becomes heavier and sinks, plunging thousands of meters into the abyss. This process, known as deep water formation, is driven by the rejection of salt during sea ice formation, a phenomenon that increases the salinity and density of the surrounding water. The sinking of these cold saline masses initiates a global conveyor, drawing warm water northward and sending cold water south along the ocean floor. This deep circulation is the heartbeat of the Atlantic, connecting the surface to the abyss and linking distant oceans in a continuous loop. This perpetual exchange does more than regulate temperature, it sustains the ocean's very breath. As surface waters sink, they carry with them oxygen and nutrients, replenishing the deep sea and supporting life in the darkest reaches. The AMOC's mixing action ensures that even the most remote trenches receive a steady supply of dissolved gases and organic matter, fueling ecosystems that would otherwise be starved of energy. Marine snow, tiny particles of decaying matter, drifts downward, nourishing creatures adapted to the twilight and midnight zones. The Atlantic's circulation thus acts as a lifeline, connecting sunlit shallows to the abyssal plains. When nutrient-rich deep waters resurface, often along the boundaries of continents or in regions of upwelling, they spark immense blooms of phytoplankton. These microscopic plants are the foundation of the marine food web, capturing sunlight and carbon dioxide to produce oxygen and organic matter. In fact, the Atlantic's phytoplankton are responsible for generating nearly half of the world's oxygen supply. Their explosive growth supports vast populations of zooplankton, fish, and marine mammals, and even influences the global carbon cycle by sequestering carbon in the deep ocean when they die and sink. The AMOC's reach extends from the sunlit surface to the mysterious depths. Its ceaseless flow sustains coral reefs, kelp forests, and hydrothermal vent communities, each thriving on the nutrients and energy delivered by the currents. In the deep Atlantic, hydrothermal vents release mineral-rich fluids, supporting unique life forms that rely not on sunlight but on chemosynthesis. The circulation's mixing action disperses these nutrients, allowing life to flourish in places where darkness reigns. The stability of the AMOC is vital for the migration and reproduction of countless marine species. Many fish, turtles, and even whales rely on the predictable flow of currents to guide their journeys across the Atlantic. Spawning events are often synchronized with nutrient upwelling, ensuring that larvae have abundant food. The interconnectedness of these habitats, from shallow reefs to open ocean highways, is maintained by the relentless movement of water and life. When the Atlantic's great conveyor slows or shifts, the consequences reverberate across the globe. Scientific studies have linked changes in the AMOC to abrupt climate events in Earth's past, such as the Younger Dryas, a sudden return to glacial conditions over 12,000 years ago. Today, fluctuations in the AMOC can trigger droughts in the Sahel, intensify hurricanes in the Atlantic, and alter monsoon patterns in South America. The Atlantic's hidden currents are the silent architects of our climate, their influence felt in every corner of the world, from the lush Amazon to the wind-swept tundra of Siberia. In this vast interconnected system, the Atlantic stands as a guardian of planetary balance, a climate regulator whose pulse sustains life on Earth. The Atlantic Ocean, once a bastion of stability, now finds itself at the epicenter of planetary transformation. As global temperatures climb, the ocean's surface absorbs relentless heat, setting in motion a cascade of changes that ripple through every layer of its vast expanse. Each incremental rise in temperature is not just a number, it is a force that reshapes the chemistry, currents, and life within these waters. At the northern reaches, ancient glaciers and ice sheets fracture and collapse, releasing torrents of fresh water into the North Atlantic. This influx dilutes the ocean's salinity, subtly but profoundly altering its density and the delicate balance that drives the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation, a vast conveyor belt that ferries heat, nutrients, and life across hemispheres. As this circulation weakens, the ocean's ability to regulate climate falters, threatening to unleash erratic weather patterns from the Americas to Europe and beyond. Fisheries that once thrived on predictable currents now face uncertainty as nutrient flows and spawning grounds shift in response to these invisible changes. The Atlantic acts as a planetary heat sink, absorbing over 90% of the excess warmth generated by human activity. This immense reservoir of energy fuels the birth of supercharged hurricanes, their swirling forms gathering strength from the heated surface. Beneath the waves, the consequences are equally dramatic. Oxygen levels plummet as warmer water holds less dissolved gas, creating expanding dead zones where life suffocates. Once clear waters become clouded by explosive plankton blooms, their growth spurred by shifting temperatures and nutrient surges, yet their decay further depletes oxygen, compounding the crisis. Apex predators, sharks, tuna, and billfish, are now confined to shrinking ribbons of oxygen-rich water, their ancient hunting grounds fragmented by invisible boundaries. These predators, finely tuned to the ocean's gradients, must navigate a labyrinth of hypoxic zones, where a single misstep can mean suffocation. Prey species, sensing the subtle cues of warming and acidification, embark on mass migrations toward the poles, fracturing food webs that have persisted for millennia. The intricate choreography of predator and prey is thrown into disarray, with ripple effects that echo through every trophic level. The ocean's chemistry is shifting as well. Rising carbon dioxide dissolves into seawater, forming carbonic acid that eats away at the very foundations of marine life. Corals, the architects of vibrant reefs, lose their color and structural integrity in a process known as bleaching, their symbiotic algae expelled by thermal stress. Shell-building creatures, tiny plankton, mollusks, and crustaceans, find their protective armor dissolving, threatening the base of the food chain and the survival of countless species that depend on them. In response to these upheavals, marine animals embark on migrations of unprecedented length and peril. Sea turtles, whales, and countless fish species traverse altered currents, their ancient routes disrupted by shifting temperatures and unpredictable eddies. Some, like jellyfish, thrive in the chaos, their populations booming as competitors falter, while others struggle to adapt, their numbers dwindling as habitats fragment and food sources vanish. The Atlantic's web of life is stretched to its limits. Fish gasp for oxygen near the surface, corals retract into skeletal husks, and once bustling reefs fall silent. The resilience of these ecosystems is tested as never before, with survival hinging on the ability to adapt to a world transformed by relentless, accelerating change. In this era of rapid transformation, the Atlantic's future hangs in a delicate balance. The urgency to unravel its mysteries and safeguard its hidden worlds has never been greater. For within these depths lie not only the secrets of our planet's past, but the keys to its survival in a warming world. As we descend beneath the shimmering surface of the Atlantic, sunlight rapidly diminishes, giving way to a world where day and night blur into a perpetual twilight. The transformation is profound. Colors are stripped away, replaced by a deepening blue that soon dissolves into inky blackness. With every meter, the water grows colder, denser, and the pressure intensifies, compressing the very fabric of life. The twilight zone, or mesopelagic, stretches from about 200 to 1,000 meters below the surface. Here only the faintest traces of blue light penetrate, barely enough to outline the silhouettes of drifting creatures. temperatures plummet to near freezing, and the pressure can reach over 100 times that at sea level. Life in this realm is sustained by a constant rain of organic matter, marine snow, composed of dead plankton, fecal pellets, and other detritus, slowly sinking from the sunlit waters above. This steady supply of nutrients forms the foundation of a complex food web, nourishing organisms that rarely, if ever, glimpse the sun. In this dim expanse, bioluminescence is not just a spectacle, it is a survival strategy. The anglerfish, a master of deception, dangles a luminous lure above its gaping jaws, mimicking the gentle glow of drifting prey. Unsuspecting animals are drawn in by the light, only to be engulfed in a sudden predatory strike. This adaptation is a testament to the ingenuity of life in the deep, where energy is scarce and every meal is hard-won. Lanternfish, among the most numerous vertebrates on the planet, have evolved intricate patterns of light-producing organs along their bodies. These photophores allow them to blend seamlessly with the faint glow from above, a phenomenon known as counter-illumination. By matching the downwelling light, lanternfish become nearly invisible to predators lurking below, while their rhythmic flashes serve as signals to potential mates and members of their own species. Descending further, we enter the midnight zone, the bath epelagic, where sunlight never reaches. Here, the elusive giant squid reigns as one of the ocean's most enigmatic predators. With eyes the size of dinner plates, these giants are exquisitely tuned to detect the faintest glimmers of bioluminescence or the subtle movement of prey. Their long, powerful tentacles can snatch fish and other cephalopods from the darkness, while their streamlined bodies allow them to glide silently through the abyss. Among the most enchanting residents of these depths is the Dumbo octopus. With its delicate, ear-like fins, it glides effortlessly through the water, its pale, translucent form almost ghostly against the dark backdrop. The Dumbo octopus is uniquely adapted to the crushing pressures of the deep, using its webbed arms to envelop prey and its sensitive skin to detect the faintest vibrations in the water. Feeding primarily on worms and crustaceans, it navigates the abyss with a grace that belies the harshness of its environment. The inhabitants of the Twilight and Midnight zones display a remarkable array of adaptations. Many possess transparent or reflective bodies, rendering them nearly invisible in the darkness. Others have evolved enormous light-sensitive eyes to capture every available photon, or specialized organs that detect the faintest chemical cues and vibrations. Some species, like the barrel-eye fish, have upward-facing eyes encased in a transparent dome, allowing them to spot prey silhouetted against the dim light above. Despite the perpetual night, these zones teem with life. Shrimp and small fish gather in vast numbers to feed on the descending marine snow, while larger predators patrol the shadows, relying on stealth and sensory adaptations to hunt. Many species undertake nightly vertical migrations, rising hundreds of meters toward the surface under cover of darkness to feed, then retreating to the safety of the depths by day, a daily journey that represents the largest animal migration on Earth. The landscape of the deep Atlantic is as alien as the creatures that inhabit it. Vast plains of soft sediment stretch for miles, punctuated by towering hydrothermal vents that spew mineral-rich plumes into the water. Around these vents, unique communities thrive, sustained not by sunlight, but by chemosynthetic bacteria that convert chemicals into energy. Here, life takes on forms and behaviors found nowhere else on Earth, and many species remain unknown to science. Through the lens of advanced submersibles and remotely operated vehicles, scientists are gradually unveiling the secrets of these hidden realms. Each expedition reveals new species, unexpected behaviors, and astonishing adaptations, expanding our understanding of life's resilience in the face of extreme cold, darkness, and pressure. The Twilight and Midnight zones of the Atlantic remain one of Earth's final frontiers, a testament to the boundless ingenuity of evolution, and a reminder that the mysteries of the deep are far from fully explored. Hidden beneath the immense blue canopy of the Atlantic, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge emerges as one of Earth's most dramatic geological features. Stretching for over 10,000 miles, this colossal underwater mountain chain marks the boundary where the Eurasian and North American plates, as well as the African and South American plates, slowly drift apart. Here, the planet's crust is torn open, and molten rock wells up from the mantle, forging new oceanic crust in a process that is both relentless and silent. The ridge's jagged peaks and yawning valleys are sculpted by tectonic forces, earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, creating a landscape as alien as any found on distant worlds. Along these fractured ridges, hydrothermal vents burst forth with astonishing force, superheated water reaching temperatures of up to 400 degrees Celsius, jets from the seafloor laden with dissolved metals and chemicals leached from the crust. As this mineral-rich water meets the icy ocean, it precipitates out, building towering chimneys of iron, copper and sulfide minerals, structures known as black smokers. These vents are not merely geological curiosities, they are dynamic chemical reactors, constantly reshaping the seafloor and altering the chemistry of the deep ocean. In this perpetual darkness, life has found a way to thrive without sunlight. Here, chemosynthetic bacteria form the bedrock of the ecosystem, harnessing energy from toxic chemicals like hydrogen sulfide and methane. These microbes convert chemical energy into organic matter, supporting a food web that is entirely independent of the sun. Their mats, often iridescent and thick, coat the rocks and vent chimneys, transforming the harshest environments into oases of life. Towering tube worms, some exceeding 2 meters in length, cluster in dense colonies around the vents. Their blood-red plumes pulse rhythmically, extracting dissolved chemicals from the water and hosting symbiotic bacteria within their tissues. Blind shrimp, equipped with heat-sensing organs, navigate the scalding currents, while ghostly fish and pale crabs scuttle among the mineral towers. Each species is exquisitely adapted to survive in this extreme environment. Some rely on symbiosis, others on specialized feeding strategies, all shaped by the unique chemistry and temperature gradients of the vents. The discovery of these extraordinary communities has revolutionized our understanding of life's potential. Here, biology is not bound by sunlight, but by the availability of chemical energy. This revelation has inspired the search for life in the most unlikely places, beneath the icy crusts of Jupiter's moon Europa or Saturn's Enceladus, where similar hydrothermal activity may occur. The possibility that life could arise wherever water, energy, and chemistry converge has profound implications for our search beyond Earth. Each hydrothermal vent field along the Mid-Atlantic Ridge is a world unto itself, shaped by the chemistry of its fluids and the geology of its surroundings. Some vents support vast meadows of tube worms and mussels, while others are dominated by swarms of shrimp or colonies of armored snails. The diversity of life here is a testament to the power of adaptation and the resilience of evolution in the face of adversity. The creatures of these vents endure pressures hundreds of times greater than at the surface, temperatures that swing from near freezing to boiling, and a chemical cocktail that would be lethal to most known life. Yet they flourish, demonstrating the extraordinary adaptability of life and challenging our assumptions about the boundaries of habitability. With each expedition, robotic explorers and submersibles venture deeper into these uncharted realms, capturing high-definition footage and collecting samples that reveal new species and unexpected chemical processes. These discoveries not only illuminate the origins of life on our own planet, but also guide our search for life elsewhere in the cosmos. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge and its hydrothermal vents remain a frontier of science, an ever-evolving tapestry of geology and biology, where the secrets of Earth's past and the possibilities of life beyond our world are written in stone and water, heat and darkness. The Atlantic Ocean is a living tapestry of movement, its surface and depth sculpted by a complex interplay of powerful currents and the ceaseless migrations of marine life. Beneath the waves, immense rivers of water, like the Gulf Stream, flow with astonishing force, transporting heat, nutrients and life itself across thousands of miles. These currents are the ocean's circulatory system, shaping climates, fueling ecosystems, and guiding the epic journeys of countless creatures. Each year, humpback whales embark on extraordinary migrations, traveling from the nutrient-rich polar waters, where swirling upwellings bring plankton blooms, to the warm, sheltered nurseries of the Caribbean. Their routes are mapped by shifting currents and subtle changes in water temperature, a journey mirrored by great white sharks and bluefin tuna. These predators navigate the open ocean, their movements synchronized with the invisible highways of the sea, in pursuit of prey and spawning grounds. The tides and currents not only dictate their paths, but also orchestrate the timing of their arrival, ensuring survival for the next generation. In the ever-shifting seascape, orcas and dolphins demonstrate remarkable adaptability. Moving in tightly coordinated pods, they harness the energy of ocean swells and currents, using them to travel vast distances with minimal effort. Their sophisticated hunting strategies are shaped by the dynamic environment, each pod communicating through a unique dialect of clicks and whistles, passing knowledge from one generation to the next. These social bonds and learned behaviors are as fluid as the waters they inhabit, evolving in response to the ocean's constant change. Manta rays, with their vast wing-like fins, are masters of the open ocean. They glide effortlessly along the boundaries of powerful currents, feeding on clouds of plankton swept along by the flow. Occasionally, they launch themselves skyward in breathtaking leaps, mysterious displays that may serve as communication, parasite removal, or simply the exuberance of movement. Scientists continue to study these enigmatic behaviors, seeking to unravel the secrets of their connection to the ocean's pulse. While some creatures traverse the vastness, others remain anchored in place, perfectly attuned to the subtle movements of water around them. The stonefish, a master of camouflage, lies motionless among rocks and coral, its venomous spines poised for unsuspecting prey, swept close by the current. Nearby, octopuses and crustaceans blend seamlessly into their surroundings, using the gentle sway of the water to mask their movements and ambush their quarry. The Atlantic's currents are the invisible architects of life, weaving together the destinies of countless species. Tiny plankton drift with the flow, forming the foundation of the food web. Schools of fish move as one, their synchronized turns a response to subtle shifts in water chemistry and temperature. Sea turtles, ancient mariners, glide effortlessly on these currents, their migrations spanning entire ocean basins, guided by magnetic fields and the ever-changing tides. Every journey across the Atlantic is a testament to the ocean's immense power and the resilience of its inhabitants. From the smallest plankton to the largest whale, each creature is shaped by the ever-changing movement of water, a dynamic, interconnected web of life, forever in motion. The Atlantic's currents are not merely pathways, they are the lifeblood of the ocean, driving evolution, migration, and the endless dance of survival beneath the waves. The Atlantic Ocean is a realm of breathtaking extremes, its surface teeming with vibrant marine life, while its depths remain shrouded in darkness and mystery. Here, powerful currents surge relentlessly across the seafloor, sculpting vast underwater canyons and guiding the epic migrations of whales, sharks, and countless other species. The interplay of light and shadow above and below the waves creates a world where survival depends on adaptation and resilience. Above the water, storms can materialize with astonishing speed, transforming tranquil seas into a maelstrom of wind and rain. Lightning forks across the sky, illuminating the roiling surface as waves crash against ancient rocks, carving new shapes into the coastline with every passing year. Seabirds ride the updrafts, their cries echoing through the tempest, while beneath the surface, marine creatures seek refuge from the chaos above. Warm, tropical waters act as the engine for hurricanes, colossal storms that spiral across the ocean, their immense power reshaping coastlines and altering entire ecosystems. Within the hurricane's eye, a deceptive calm prevails, while all around winds roar and rain lashes the sea, driving waves to heights that defy imagination. Even the most resilient marine life must adapt or perish in the face of such overwhelming force. Once dismissed as sailors' tales, rogue waves are now recognized as genuine phenomena, towering walls of water that appear without warning, capable of overwhelming even the largest vessels. These unpredictable giants are born from the chaotic interplay of wind, current, and tide, their sudden emergence a stark reminder of the ocean's untamable nature. Beneath the surface, the shockwaves of these events ripple through the marine world, disrupting the delicate balance of life. The Bermuda Triangle, shrouded in myth and mystery, is a region where swift currents and abrupt storms converge. Here, the ocean's surface is a shifting mosaic of sargassum and swirling eddies, while below, hidden trenches and unpredictable tides create a labyrinth for marine life. The interplay of weather and water in this enigmatic zone has inspired countless theories, yet its true dangers lie in the Atlantic's ever-changing temperament. These natural forces serve as a powerful reminder. The Atlantic is untamed and unpredictable, its moods shifting from serene to savage in the blink of an eye. Upwellings bring life-giving nutrients from the depths, sparking feeding frenzies that ripple through the food chain, while sudden squalls and shifting currents can turn calm waters into a scene of chaos. Despite the advances of modern science, the Atlantic's vastness and volatility continue to humble us. Its secrets remain locked beneath the waves, strange, bioluminescent creatures, unexplored trenches, and phenomena yet to be understood. The wild side of the Atlantic is a testament to nature's enduring power and mystery, a frontier where every surge and swell tells a story still unfolding. Along the sprawling Atlantic coastline, the first chapters of countless marine lives unfold in the secret sanctuaries of coral reefs, mangroves, and seagrass beds. These habitats, though they cover only a fraction of the ocean floor, are the true cradles of marine diversity, complex, living tapestries where the next generation of ocean dwellers is nurtured and protected. Within the intricate branches of coral, clouds of juvenile fish, some barely the size of a fingernail, find sanctuary from prowling predators. Seagrass beds, dense and swaying, offer both nourishment and camouflage for a multitude of invertebrates and young sea creatures, from translucent shrimp to the delicate pipefish. Coral reefs, with their labyrinthine structures, are bustling underwater cities. Every crevice and overhang is occupied. Tiny gobies hover near their burrows, while sponges and anemones filter the water, creating microhabitats for crustaceans and mollusks. Here, the slow-moving sea cucumber cleans the sand, while darting damselfish defend their algae gardens. Mangroves, with their tangled roots reaching deep into the brackish water, act as living fortresses. Their roots trap sediments and filter pollutants, creating a safe, nutrient-rich haven for young fish, crabs, and rays. Here, juvenile rays glide silently through the maze, while fiddler crabs forage at the base of the trunks, shielded from the open ocean's dangers. Seagrass meadows, stretching across the sandy shallows, are the lungs and larders of the coastal ocean. Their roots anchor the seabed, preventing erosion, while their blades provide a buffet for manatees, turtles, and countless smaller grazers. Seahorses cling to the swaying grass, blending perfectly with their surroundings, while schools of mullet graze on the algae that flourish in this sunlit world. These nurseries are not isolated. They form a seamless, interconnected network, allowing species to migrate as they grow. A young snapper may begin its life hidden among mangrove roots, then venture into seagrass beds to feed, before finally joining the bustling community of the coral reef. Each habitat supports the next, maintaining a delicate balance that is essential for the Atlantic's extraordinary biodiversity. Yet these vital sanctuaries face mounting threats. Coastal development encroaches on their boundaries, while pollution and agricultural runoff cloud the water and smother delicate habitats. Rising ocean temperatures trigger coral bleaching, weakening the very foundation of the reef, and algal blooms suffocate seagrass beds, disrupting the intricate web of life. The loss of these nurseries would send shockwaves through the Atlantic. Without them, food webs unravel, and the resilience of marine life is diminished for generations. The once vibrant underwater landscapes become barren, unable to support the abundance of life they once did. Safeguarding these habitats through restoration, protection, and sustainable management is essential. When given the chance, these nurseries can recover, seagrass beds flourish, coral polyps regrow, and young fish return to thrive. The future health and stability of the entire Atlantic Ocean depends on the survival and vitality of its nurseries, where the story of marine life begins anew each day. The Atlantic Ocean, vast and enigmatic, has long been a cradle of life and a force shaping continents. Yet today it stands at a crossroads, its future shadowed by the accelerating impacts of climate change. Storms once rare and awe-inspiring now batter its surface with relentless frequency, stirring the deep and unsettling the intricate web of currents that sustain countless species. These shifting waters threaten to unravel the delicate tapestry of life woven over millennia. Human activity compounds these natural challenges. Overfishing has stripped the Atlantic of its once teeming shoals, leaving behind empty stretches where abundance was once the rule. Pollution, insidious and far-reaching, seeps into every corner, from floating islands of plastic to invisible microplastics infiltrating the food chain and oil slicks suffocating the surface. Even the most remote depths are not immune, as ghost nets and chemical plumes create silent zones of devastation. In the face of these mounting threats, a new era of stewardship emerges. Scientists and conservationists, armed with cutting-edge technology, now monitor the Atlantic's pulse in real time. Underwater robots glide through coral labyrinths, satellites trace the subtle warming of currents, and sonar reveals the hidden contours of the sea floor. These tools illuminate the unseen, guiding the creation of marine protected areas, refuges where the ocean's rhythms can recover, undisturbed by human hands. The results are profound. In these sanctuaries, bluefin tuna return in shimmering schools, herrings swirl in mesmerizing patterns, and dolphins leap through revitalized waters. Spawning grounds, once barren, now pulse with new life. Kelp forests regrow, their fronds sheltering a multitude of creatures, while plankton blooms ignite the base of the food web, nourishing everything from tiny crustaceans to majestic whales. Restoration efforts unfold with meticulous care. Coral fragments are transplanted onto damaged reefs, where polyps extend their delicate tentacles, slowly rebuilding vibrant underwater cities. Along battered coasts, mangrove saplings anchor new sediment, their roots weaving a living barrier against erosion. Seagrass meadows, once lost, are revived, swaying with the tides and providing sanctuary for juvenile fish and invertebrates. These thriving habitats do more than shelter marine life. Coral reefs and oyster beds filter water, kelp forests absorb carbon, and mangroves buffer coastlines from the fury of storms. Underwater caves harbor rare species, while tide pools brim with biodiversity, each microcosm a testament to the resilience of nature when given space to heal. Yet, the Atlantic's fate is not sealed by restoration alone. The ocean's future depends on confronting the root causes of its decline. Reducing carbon emissions is essential to slow warming seas and acidification. Halting the relentless flow of pollutants, plastic debris, agricultural runoff, and industrial waste demands global cooperation and innovation. Each action, from cleaning beaches to rethinking waste management, ripples outward, protecting the ocean's fragile balance. To truly safeguard the Atlantic, we must recognize it as a living system, complex, interconnected, and irreplaceable. Its currents regulate climate, its depths harbor untold mysteries, and its surface supports a dazzling array of life. By valuing the ocean not as an endless resource, but as a vital organ of our planet, we ensure its diversity and beauty endure for generations. The alternative is stark. Where exploitation reigns unchecked, the ocean's vibrancy fades. Overfished waters become silent, reefs lose their color, and kelp forests wither to memory. The loss is not only ecological but cultural and economic, an impoverishment of the very systems that sustain us. But hope persists in every sunrise over the Atlantic. Each gentle wave, each leap of a dolphin is a reminder of what remains and what can be restored. The choices we make now in how we manage, protect, and respect these waters will echo for centuries, shaping the destiny of the ocean and all who depend on it. The Atlantic's future is a reflection of our resolve. Through stewardship, innovation, and reverence for the natural world, we can ensure that its wonders endure, not only for ourselves, but for every form of life that calls these waters home. The story of the Atlantic is still being written, and its next chapter depends on us. Gap 2's Beneath the Atlantic's Waves, where sunlight is swallowed by the depths and darkness becomes absolute, an extraordinary world emerges, one that glows with its own secret language of light. In the twilight and midnight zones, where pressure mounts and temperatures plummet, bioluminescent organisms drift and dart through the blackness. These living lanterns are not merely beautiful, they are the architects of a complex glowing ecosystem. Gap 2's visuals, deep blue water, slow pan to faint glows. The comb jelly, or ctenophore, glides silently through the water. Its transparent body refracts the faintest traces of light, trailing a mesmerizing rainbow of iridescence. This display is not just for show, it is a sophisticated adaptation, a way to confuse predators and attract mates in the perpetual night. Each gentle movement of the comb jelly's cilia sends ripples of color cascading along its body. These iridescent flashes are created by microscopic hair-like structures scattering light in a dazzling array, serving as both a warning to would-be attackers and a signal to others of its kind. Gap 2's visuals close-up of an anglerfish, lure glowing. Lurking in the shadows, the anglerfish is a master of deception. Its bioluminescent lure, a specialized organ called the esker, dangles above its head, glowing with an eerie blue-green light produced by symbiotic bacteria. The lure pulses rhythmically, mimicking the movements of small prey. Drawn by the promise of an easy meal, unsuspecting fish approach, only to be engulfed in a split second by the anglerfish's powerful jaws. This predatory strategy is a triumph of evolutionary engineering, perfectly tuned to the pitch-black world of the deep. Gap 2's visuals swarms of lanternfish. As night falls, billions of lanternfish ascend from the depths in a nightly vertical migration, the largest movement of animal life on the planet. Their synchronized journey is guided by the subtle glow of their bodies, creating a living river of light that flows through the darkness. Each lanternfish is adorned with rows of photophores, tiny, light-producing organs that emit a soft bluish glow. These photophores are precisely arranged, allowing the fish to blend in with the faint light from above, rendering them nearly invisible to predators lurking below. Individually, their light is subtle, but together, lanternfish create a shimmering constellation beneath the waves. This collective glow confuses predators and helps the school maintain cohesion as they navigate the vast open ocean. Gap 2's visuals, siphonophore drifting, threads aglow. Among the most enigmatic of the Atlantic's living lights is the siphonophore, a colonial organism composed of countless specialized individuals, each contributing to the whole. It drifts through the water like a living tapestry, its body adorned with luminous threads. Waves of blue-green light pulse along the siphonophores' tentacles, luring prey into a maze of stinging cells. This bioluminescent display also serves as a form of communication, coordinating the actions of the colony's many parts in the silent dark. Gap 2's visuals, close-up of a shrimp, sudden flash of light. Even the smallest inhabitants of the deep, like the deep-sea shrimp, have evolved to wield light as a defensive weapon. When threatened, these crustaceans unleash a sudden flash of bioluminescence, startling predators and masking their escape. The shrimp releases a cloud of glowing chemicals into the water, a dazzling burst that confuses attackers and provides precious seconds to vanish into the darkness. This remarkable adaptation is a testament to the ingenuity of life in the deep sea. Gap 2's visuals, panoramic of the deep ocean, scattered points of light. Across the vast inky expanse of the Atlantic, bioluminescence transforms the darkness into a living canvas. Each point of light is a signal, a warning, or a lure, an essential tool for survival in a world where vision is limited and danger is ever present. From the tiniest plankton to the most formidable predators, creatures use bioluminescence to hunt, to hide, to communicate, and to thrive. This evolutionary marvel is the result of millions of years of adaptation, fine-tuned to the unique challenges of the deep. Gap 2's visuals montage of bioluminescent displays. Scientific research reveals that bioluminescence is not a single phenomenon, but a spectrum of chemical reactions and biological structures. Some species produce light through symbiotic bacteria, while others rely on specialized enzymes and proteins. Each adaptation is a unique solution to the challenges of life in the deep. The silent glow of these creatures is a testament to the ocean's enduring mystery, a beacon of wonder and scientific intrigue, hidden just beneath the surface, reminding us that even in the planet's most remote and inhospitable realms, life finds a way to shine. The Gap 2's visuals, slow descent through inky black water, faint flickers of light. Far beneath the Atlantic's restless waves, where the pressure would crush even the most advanced submersibles and sunlight is forever banished, lies a world as alien as any imagined in science fiction. Hydrothermal vent ecosystems, the true hidden cities of the deep. Gap 2's visuals, dramatic reveal of a black smoker chimney, plumes of superheated water billowing upward. Here, on the ocean's floor, immense towers of mineral deposits, called black smokers, rise like skyscrapers from the abyssal plain, their chimneys belching scalding jets of water rich with dissolved metals and potent chemicals. Gap 2's visuals, close-up of shimmering water, heat distortion visible. The water here, superheated to over 400 degrees Celsius, shimmers and distorts the darkness, creating a surreal boundary between the vent's inferno and the icy blackness that surrounds it. Gap 2's visuals, swarms of pale shrimp clinging to vent structures. Despite the apparent hostility, these mineral towers are bustling with life. Swarms of pale, heat-sensing shrimp cling to the vent structures, their bodies perfectly tuned to detect the faintest chemical cues in the water. Gap 2's visuals, slow pan over fields of tube worms, blood-red plumes waving gently. Vast colonies of tube worms, crowned with blood-red plumes, form living meadows around the vents. These creatures, blind and mouthless, thrive where no plant could ever grow. Gap 2's visuals, close-up of bacteria mats carpeting rocks in yellow, white and orange. The rocks themselves are blanketed in vibrant mats of bacteria, yellow, white and orange, each colony a testament to the power of life to colonize even the most toxic environments. Gap 2's visuals, close-up of tube worm plumes. The tube worms' crimson plumes are not for feeding, but for breathing. Within their bodies, symbiotic bacteria convert poisonous hydrogen sulfide into energy, fueling growth in a process called chemosynthesis, a miracle of adaptation in a sunless world. Gap 2's visuals, ghostly white crabs, squat lobsters, and eel-like fish weaving through the vent fields. These bacteria form the bedrock of a complex food web. Ghostly white crabs and squat lobsters scuttle across the mineral towers, while eel-like fish weave silently through the labyrinth, each species a specialist in survival. Gap 2's visuals, panoramic of a sprawling vent field, plumes rising, life teeming around the chimneys. The vent fields stretch for kilometers, a metropolis of mineral spires and bustling life. Here, predators and scavengers alike navigate a landscape sculpted by the Earth's inner fire, feeding on bacteria, detritus, and each other in a delicate, ever-shifting balance. Gap 2's visuals close-up of various vent creatures. Every inhabitant of these hidden cities is a marvel of evolution, armored against crushing pressure, immune to toxins, and thriving in perpetual darkness. Their forms and behaviors are shaped by the extremes of their environment, resulting in a community unlike any other on Earth. Gap 2's visuals panoramic of a sprawling vent field, plumes rising, life teeming around the chimneys. These hydrothermal vents are not permanent. Like cities built on shifting ground, they appear, evolve, and eventually vanish as the Earth's crust moves and changes, leaving behind only mineral skeletons and the memory of life. Gap 2's visuals, slow fade out, focus on a single tube worm swaying in the currents. In this perpetual night, life is not only possible, it is exuberant, inventive, and resilient, drawing energy from the planet's molten heart rather than the distant sun. Gap 2's visuals wide shot of the ocean's surface. The hidden cities of the deep remind us that the Atlantic's greatest mysteries are not found in its sunlit shallows, but in the shadowy depths where life has rewritten the rules of existence. Gap 2's visuals various deep sea life. In these extreme environments, life invents new strategies to endure, adapt, and flourish, proving that the ocean's story is still unfolding and its most extraordinary chapters remain hidden far below the waves. Gap 2's visuals dawn over the open Atlantic, soft golden light glinting off gentle swells. As the first rays of sunlight sweep across the Atlantic, a hidden world stirs beneath the waves. Here, invisible highways, etched by ancient currents and the gravitational pull of the moon, span thousands of kilometers, guiding a breathtaking diversity of marine life on their seasonal odysseys. Gap 2's visuals, satellite animation of swirling ocean currents and migratory paths overlaying the map of the Atlantic. These migrations, precisely timed with the shifting seasons and the subtle cues of temperature and salinity, represent some of the most extraordinary natural phenomena on Earth, orchestrated by the ocean's own pulse. Gap 2's visuals, underwater shot of a shimmering school of Atlantic herring, moving as a single fluid mass. In the cold, nutrient-rich waters of the North Atlantic, immense shoals of herring and mackerel begin their southward journey. Each fish, guided by chemical signals and the faintest changes in water temperature, moves in perfect synchrony with its neighbors. Gap 2's visuals, close-up of herring darting through plankton blooms, each fish perfectly coordinated with its neighbors. These migrations are not merely instinctual. They are a finely tuned response to the ocean's productivity, as plankton blooms surge and recede with the seasons. For these small fish, migration is a matter of survival, ensuring access to food and safe spawning grounds while evading the ever-present threat of predators. Gap 2's visuals, wide shot of a pod of North Atlantic right whales gliding beneath the surface, their slow, powerful movements, graceful and deliberate. Towering giants also traverse these ancient routes. North Atlantic right whales, among the most endangered mammals on the planet, embark on a monumental migration each year. Leaving the rich feeding grounds off Canada and New England, they travel thousands of kilometers to the warmer, sheltered waters off the southeastern United States. Gap 2's visuals, mother whale and calf swimming side by side, sunlight filtering through the deep blue. For mothers and their newborn calves, this journey is fraught with danger, from shifting currents to lurking predators. Yet it is essential, as the warm southern waters provide a safe haven for calving and nurturing the next generation. a delicate balance between risk and reward that has evolved over millennia. Gap 2's visuals, time-lapse of loggerhead sea turtles ascending from the depths, silhouetted against the sunlit surface. Loggerhead sea turtles, born on remote Atlantic beaches, embark on journeys that span entire ocean basins. From the moment they hatch, these turtles are guided by the Earth's magnetic field, a biological compass encoded in their DNA. Gap 2's visuals, juvenile turtles navigating through the open ocean, their silhouettes drifting through the blue. For years, they will wander the vast Atlantic, crossing currents and continents before instinct draws them back to the very beaches where their lives began. This remarkable navigation, still not fully understood by science, is a testament to the enduring mysteries of migration. Gap 2's visuals, schools of bluefin tuna slicing through the water at high speed, mussels rippling with power. Bluefin tuna, the ocean's swift and relentless hunters, undertake transatlantic migrations that test the limits of endurance. From spawning grounds in the Gulf of Mexico and the Mediterranean, they cross the breadth of the Atlantic, following the shifting abundance of prey and the subtle changes in water temperature. Gap 2's visuals, close-up of tuna hunting smaller fish, rapid bursts of movement. Their streamlined bodies and acute senses are the result of millions of years of evolution, allowing them to navigate vast distances with astonishing precision and to thrive in the ever-changing seascape of the Atlantic. Gap 2's visuals, broad view of swirling plankton clouds, microscopic life moving with the tides. Even the smallest inhabitants of the Atlantic participate in these great migrations. Plankton, tiny, drifting organisms, rise toward the surface each night, following the moonlight in a daily vertical migration that is the largest movement of biomass on the planet. Gap 2's visuals, macro view of copepods and jellyfish drifting in the currents. This nightly ascent and descent, driven by the need to feed and avoid predators, forms the foundation of the ocean's food web, sustaining everything from small fish to the largest whales. Gap 2's visuals, montage of different species, dolphins leaping in unison, swordfish gliding beneath waves, seabirds diving into schools of fish. The Atlantic's migratory tapestry is woven from countless threads, dolphins racing alongside currents, swordfish gliding through the twilight zone, seabirds plunging into swirling shoals. Gap 2's visuals, seamless transitions between species and habitats, reflecting the interconnectedness of life. Each species responds to the ocean's dynamic forces, temperature gradients, salinity shifts, and the ever-changing distribution of prey. These migrations connect distant habitats, linking coral reefs, open ocean, and coastal shallows in a vast living network. Gap 2's visuals, final shot aerial view of the Atlantic teeming with life, the surface alive with movement and possibility. In these endless migrations, the Atlantic breathes and pulses with life. Its highways of movement are not just routes of travel, but vital arteries that sustain the ocean's diversity and resilience. Each journey, from the smallest plankton to the mightiest whale, is a chapter in the ongoing story of adaptation, survival, and the profound interconnectedness of all marine life. Gap 2's visuals, slow-motion shot of surface water, sunlight catching on tiny drifting particles barely visible to the eye. Beneath the Atlantic's shimmering surface, a silent and insidious threat drifts with the currents, microplastics. These nearly invisible fragments, suspended in the water column, are the legacy of a world increasingly shaped by synthetic materials. Gap 2's visuals, close-up animation of plastic waste breaking down, battered by waves and sunlight, transforming into tiny particles. Over time, plastic bottles, bags and fishing gear are battered by relentless waves and scorched by ultraviolet rays. This process, known as photodegradation, shatters them into fragments less than 5 millimeters across, microplastics that now permeate every corner of the Atlantic, from bustling coastal shallows to the most isolated gyres. Gap 2's Visuals, underwater shot of plankton clouds, with microplastics suspended among them, indistinguishable at first glance. Microplastics originate not only from the breakdown of larger debris, but also from synthetic fibers shed by clothing, and microbeads once common in personal care products. Carried by winds, rivers, and oceanic currents, these particles infiltrate even the most remote and pristine waters, mingling with clouds of plankton and organic matter. Gap 2's visuals, macro footage of copepod ingesting a microplastic particle highlighted by a soft glow. Floating alongside plankton, microplastics are easily mistaken for food by the ocean's smallest inhabitants. Copepods and other zooplankton, the foundation of the marine food web, ingest these synthetic particles, often with devastating consequences. Gap 2's visuals, animated visualization tracing microplastics up the food chain, from zooplankton to small fish to larger predators such as tuna and dolphins. When copepods, krill, and larval fish consume microplastics, these particles are transferred up the food chain. Small fish feed on zooplankton, larger predators such as tuna and dolphins prey on the fish, and so the synthetic fragments accumulate, moving inexorably toward the apex of the Atlantic's food web. Gap 2's visuals, deep-sea ROV footage of the Twilight Zone, with microplastics drifting downward in a slow, perpetual rain. Microplastics are not confined to the sunlit surface. As marine organisms die or excrete waste, microplastics become embedded in organic aggregates known as marine snow. This slow, perpetual rain of particles drifts downward, carrying microplastics into the ocean's twilight zone and beyond. Gap 2's visuals, animated visualization tracing microplastics up the food chain, from zooplankton to small fish to larger predators such as tuna and dolphins. As each link in the chain feeds on the next, microplastics accumulate in tissues and organs. Recent studies have revealed that these particles can cross biological barriers, entering the circulatory systems of fish and even reaching the brains of some species, where they may disrupt neurological function. Gap 2's visuals, deep-sea ROV footage of the Twilight Zone, with microplastics drifting downward in a slow, perpetual rain. In the deep ocean, microplastics settle among the detritus of ancient life. Here, in perpetual darkness, they become part of the sediment, mingling with minerals and organic matter that have accumulated over millennia. Gap 2's visuals, close-up of deep-sea amphipods and worms interacting with microplastic particles on the seafloor. Deep-sea amphipods and worms, adapted to survive in the crushing pressure and cold, now encounter microplastics as part of their environment. Some ingest these particles, mistaking them for food, while others become entangled in synthetic fibers. Gap 2's visuals, close-up of deep-sea amphipods and worms interacting with microplastic particles on the seafloor. On the seafloor, microplastics settle among ancient sediments, where they may persist for centuries. Here they interact with benthic organisms, altering feeding patterns and potentially introducing toxic additives into the food web. Gap 2's visuals, school of Atlantic mackerel swimming through a cloud of suspended microplastics, particles swirling in the water. Even in these remote depths, life is not untouched. Atlantic mackerel and other pelagic fish swim through clouds of suspended microplastics, their gills filtering not only oxygen but also synthetic debris. Gap 2's visuals, slow pan across a coral reef on an Atlantic seamount with microplastics trapped among coral branches and sponges. In the labyrinthine branches of Atlantic coral reefs and seamounts, microplastics become ensnared, trapped among sponges and corals. Here, even species adapted to the planet's most extreme environments have been found with microplastics in their digestive tracts. Gap 2's visuals, school of Atlantic mackerel swimming through a cloud of suspended microplastics, particles swirling in the water. The presence of microplastics can alter feeding behavior, reduce growth rates, and impair reproduction. Some fish exhibit reduced appetite or abnormal swimming patterns, while others accumulate toxic chemicals that leach from plastics, compounding the threat. Gap 2's visuals, slow pan across a coral reef on an Atlantic seamount, with microplastics trapped among coral branches and sponges. On reefs and rocky outcrops, microplastics can abrade delicate tissues, introduce persistent organic pollutants, and disrupt the fragile balance of these biodiverse ecosystems. Gap 2's visuals, montage of diverse Atlantic habitats, coastal shallows, open ocean, deep sea vents, each subtly impacted by drifting microplastics. No ecosystem is immune. From the bustling productivity of coastal shallows to the mysterious hydrothermal vents of the deep, microplastics have infiltrated every habitat, their presence confirmed by scientific surveys from pole to equator. Gap 2's visuals, slow pan across a coral reef on an Atlantic seamount with microplastics trapped among coral branches and sponges. From the sunlit surface where photosynthetic plankton thrive, to the midnight depths where only bioluminescent creatures roam, microplastics have woven an invisible thread through the Atlantic's vast web of life. Their persistence is a testament to the durability of synthetic polymers, some of which may endure for centuries before breaking down completely. Gap 2's visuals final shot, a single microplastic fragment drifting past a sea turtle hatchling, the vast blue stretching endlessly beyond. In the open ocean, a single microplastic fragment drifts past a vulnerable sea turtle hatchling, a poignant symbol of the challenges facing Atlantic life. The journey of microplastics is quiet, but their impact is profound, an invisible legacy that tests the resilience of every ecosystem they touch, and a call to action for the future of the world's oceans. Gap 2's visuals dawn over the open Atlantic, sunlight refracting through rippling waves. As the first rays of sunlight pierce the Atlantic's surface, a hidden world awakens. Suspended in the uppermost layers, trillions of phytoplankton, each no larger than a grain of dust, begin their daily transformation. Gap 2's visuals, microscopic close-up animation of diverse phytoplankton. Under the microscope, these organisms reveal astonishing diversity, delicate diatoms with glass-like shells, swirling dinoflagellates, and intricate chains of cyanobacteria. Each cell is a miniature engine, capturing sunlight and carbon dioxide, weaving the raw materials of life into organic matter. Gap 2's visuals, time-lapse of a phytoplankton bloom. When conditions align, nutrients rising from the deep, sunlight abundant, phytoplankton erupt in spectacular blooms, painting the ocean with swirling clouds of green and blue. With every pulse of photosynthesis, they release oxygen, fueling not just the sea, but the very air above. Gap 2's visuals, animated sequence following a single diatom as it is grazed by a copepod. The Atlantic's food web begins with this invisible harvest. A single diatom, drifting in the current, is soon discovered by a copepod, one of the ocean's most prolific grazers. Gap 2's visuals, macro footage of swarms of zooplankton. As copepods and other zooplankton feast, they convert phytoplankton's energy into new forms, becoming living links in a chain that stretches from the tiniest larvae to the ocean's largest inhabitants. Swarms of zooplankton pulse through the water, their translucent bodies shimmering as they feed, grow, and multiply, forming a living bridge between the microscopic and the immense. Gap 2's visuals, animated food web, each mouthful taken by a copepod sets off a cascade of life. Small fish, like sardines and anchovies, gather in dense schools drawn to the plankton-rich waters. Gap 2's visuals, school of sardines darting through a cloud of plankton. They dart and weave, snapping up zooplankton, their silvery bodies flashing in the filtered light. Predatory fish, in turn, pursue these schools, their movements swift and precise. The energy captured by phytoplankton flows upward, nourishing layer upon layer of marine life in a seamless, interconnected web. Gap 2's visuals, open ocean shot of a blue whale gliding through a dense patch of plankton-rich water. Even the Atlantic's giants are bound to this microscopic world. Blue whales, the largest animals ever to live, glide through clouds of krill, tiny crustaceans that themselves feed on phytoplankton. With each colossal mouthful, a whale consumes millions of krill, each one a vessel of energy, first captured by the sun and transformed by phytoplankton's silent labor. Gap 2's visuals, vivid animation of phytoplankton absorbing carbon dioxide. Yet, phytoplankton's influence extends far beyond the food web. As they grow, they draw carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, locking it away in their cells. When they die, some sink to the ocean's depths, carrying carbon with them and helping to regulate the planet's climate. This silent sequestration is a planetary service, moderating temperatures and shaping the chemistry of the sea. Gap 2's visuals, close-up of a coral polyp extending its tentacles. In every corner of the Atlantic, from vibrant coral reefs to the open abyss, phytoplankton's bounty sustains a tapestry of life. Coral polyps extend their delicate tentacles, capturing drifting plankton, while countless other creatures, jellyfish, larval fish and filter feeders, rely on this invisible rain of nourishment. Gap 2's visuals, wide aerial shot of the Atlantic. Though unseen from above, the influence of phytoplankton is profound. They shape the fate of the Atlantic, sustaining its creatures, balancing its climate, and underpinning the resilience of its ecosystems. The ocean's surface may appear empty, but beneath, a vibrant engine of life is always at work. Gap 2's visuals, final shot, a single diatom spinning gently in the light. In the endless blue, the true architects of abundance are those we cannot see. Each diatom, each cell, is a testament to the power of the small, upon which all life in the Atlantic ultimately depends. Gap 2's visuals slow zoom out from the ocean floor, revealing vast underwater mountain ranges and deep trenches. Before the Atlantic teemed with life, it was a domain of shifting stone and silent upheaval, a boundary forged in the heart of the planet, where ancient continents pressed together in a primordial embrace. The ocean's story is not merely one of water, but of relentless geological drama, written in the language of stone and time. Gap 2's visuals, animated reconstruction of the supercontinent Pangaea, showing land masses joined together. 200 million years ago, the world's continents were fused into a single immense supercontinent, Pangaea. This colossal landmass dominated the globe, its interior arid and vast, its edges battered by ancient seas. Gap 2's visuals, animated time-lapse of tectonic plates shifting, Pangaea gradually rifting apart. Deep within the earth, titanic forces gathered. Driven by convection currents in the mantle, the rigid plates of the crust began to fracture. Over millions of years, these plates drifted apart, tearing Pangaea asunder and setting the stage for a new ocean to be born. Gap 2's visuals, CGI animation of magma rising along the mid-Atlantic ridge, new seafloor forming in fiery bursts. Along the rift, molten rock surged upward, creating a fiery seam, the mid-Atlantic ridge. Here the planet's inner heat breached the surface, forging new seafloor in a continuous volcanic process that still shapes the Atlantic today. Gap 2's visuals, underwater footage and CGI of the mid-Atlantic ridge mountain chain stretching across the ocean. The mid-Atlantic ridge, a vast underwater mountain range, now bisects the ocean from pole to pole. It is the longest mountain chain on Earth, hidden beneath the waves, and serves as a living scar, a reminder of the Atlantic's fiery birth. Gap 2's visuals, side-by-side view of the modern Atlantic and the ancient rift, highlighting continental drift. Even now, volcanic activity along the ridge creates new oceanic crust, pushing the Americas and Afro-Eurasia ever farther apart. This slow, inexorable drift, measured in mere centimeters each year, reshapes the face of the planet. Gap 2's visuals, animated cross-section showing layers of sediment settling on the seafloor, interspersed with fossilized shells. As the rift widened, seawater flooded in, transforming a raw scar into a growing ocean basin. Over eons, sediments drifted down, layer upon layer, burying the chronicles of ancient marine life and the remnants of vanished worlds. Gap 2's visuals, close-up animation of layered sediments and fossil remains. The Atlantic's floor is a living archive, each stratum a page in the planet's geological diary. Here, microfossils and mineral grains record mass extinctions, climate shifts, and the rise and fall of entire ecosystems. Gap 2's visuals, aerial of modern Atlantic coastlines, cliffs, and rocky shores. The relentless action of waves and tides has sculpted the Atlantic's margins, carving dramatic cliffs and shaping rocky shores. These coastlines bear the marks of ancient ice ages, when glaciers advanced and retreated, leaving behind fjords and estuaries. Gap 2's visuals, time-lapse of tides and surf shaping the land. Over millions of years, the interplay of water and stone has created a dynamic boundary where land meets sea in a perpetual cycle of erosion and renewal. Gap 2's visuals, animated map showing the opening of the Atlantic and the separation of Africa, Europe, and the Americas. Scientific measurements reveal that the Atlantic continues to widen, its basin expanding as Africa and the Americas drift apart. This process, known as seafloor spreading, is a fundamental engine of planetary change, driving the cycles of ocean formation and destruction. Gap 2's visuals, deep-sea footage of hydrothermal vents and black smokers. Beneath the tranquil surface, the Atlantic's depths are alive with geological activity. Hydrothermal vents, black smokers, erupt along the ridge, releasing superheated, mineral-rich water into the abyss. Gap 2's visuals, close-ups of hydrothermal vent ecosystems. These vents sustain unique ecosystems, where life thrives not on sunlight but on chemosynthesis, organisms harnessing chemical energy from Earth's interior. Here, extremophiles flourish, offering clues to life's resilience and the origins of biology itself. Gap 2's visuals, wide shot of tranquil Atlantic waters, sunlight glinting off gentle swells. Today, the Atlantic Ocean is a bridge between continents, its ancient origins etched into every current and every stone. Its waters connect ecosystems, cultures, and histories, while its depths conceal the secrets of Earth's past. Gap 2's visuals, panoramic shot of peaceful Atlantic swells, sunlight shimmering on the surface. The Atlantic's saga, shaped by fire, water, and the slow march of time, continues to unfold. It is a living testament to the planet's restless spirit, forever sculpting the destiny of continents and the life they sustain. Visuals, slow pan across the jagged peaks of the mid-Atlantic ridge, shrouded in blue twilight. Beneath the vast, unbroken surface of the Atlantic, a hidden kingdom sprawls in utter darkness. Here, the mid-Atlantic ridge rises from the abyss, its serrated peaks and plunging valleys forming a colossal backbone that bisects the ocean floor. These mountains, sculpted by tectonic forces over millions of years, stretch for thousands of kilometers, an unbroken chain of volcanic summits and shadowed chasms, unseen by sunlight, yet teeming with life. Visuals, shimmering schools of fish weaving through the rocky crests. Along these submerged ridges, the landscape is alive with movement. Schools of silver fish glide effortlessly over rocky summits, their scales catching the faint blue light that filters down from above. The mountains themselves are not barren. They are cloaked in a mosaic of marine life, each outcrop and ledge providing shelter and sustenance for countless species. Gap 2's visuals, detailed close-ups of steep underwater cliffs. The cliffs are sheer and dramatic, plunging into the darkness below. Here the pressure is immense and the water is cold, yet life persists in astonishing forms. Visuals, volcanic outcrops. Volcanic outcrops jut from the seafloor, their surfaces encrusted with mineral deposits and colonized by hardy organisms. These rocks, born from the Earth's molten core, provide the foundation for entire ecosystems, their crevices home to creatures adapted to the extremes of pressure and darkness. Visuals, isolated seamounts rising from the abyssal plain. Isolated seamounts punctuate the abyssal plain, their summits reaching up like ancient monuments. These underwater mountains disrupt the relentless flow of deep ocean currents, forcing nutrient-rich waters to surge upwards in swirling, life-giving plumes. This upwelling is the heartbeat of the ecosystem, fueling blooms of plankton that form the base of a complex food web. Gap-2s, visuals, time-lapse of plankton blooms. In these nutrient-rich waters, microscopic plankton multiply in vast clouds, their presence transforming the dark water into a living soup. Visuals, a cascade of life, clouds of krill, visuals, elegant jellyfish. The plankton attract swarms of krill, which in turn draw in larger predators. Elegant jellyfish drift through the currents, their translucent bodies pulsing with each gentle movement, while the water shimmers with the passage of countless tiny lives. Visuals and hunting dolphins darting through bait balls. Life here is both abundant and diverse. Corals adapted to the cold and darkness encrust the rocky summits, building intricate reefs that rise like underwater fortresses. These reefs are sanctuaries sheltering thousands of species. Crustaceans scuttle through the coral labyrinth, eels wind between crevices, and reef-dwelling sharks patrol the shadows. Bioluminescent creatures flicker in the gloom, their lights signaling to mates or luring prey. Gap-2s, visuals, macro footage of cold-water coral polyps feeding. Cold-water coral polyps extend delicate tentacles, capturing drifting morsels from the current. These ancient reefs grow slowly, sometimes over centuries, and provide nursery grounds for young fish and safe havens for elusive species. Visuals, slow reveal of a deep-sea octopus gliding over volcanic rock. In the deepest reaches, far from the sun's touch, unique communities have evolved to exploit every available niche. A deep-sea octopus glides silently over volcanic rock, its arms exploring the terrain with uncanny precision. Here, cold-water corals form towering structures, their pale branches swaying in the current, while rare species like the ghost shark and the Dumbo octopus haunt the shadows, perfectly adapted to the perpetual night. Gap-2s, visuals, wide shot of swirling currents around a seamount. Swirling currents dance around the seamounts, carrying nutrients and life from the depths to the summits. Visuals with swirling clouds of fish. Shoals of fish move in unison, their bodies forming living clouds that shift and shimmer with the changing light. Visuals and rays silhouetted against the blue. Rays glide above the mountains, their wings casting shadows on the slopes below. These submerged peaks are crossroads, stepping stones for migratory species, sanctuaries for the rare and the remarkable. Their presence shapes the flow of water, the distribution of nutrients, and the very fabric of life in the deep. Gap-2s, visuals, final sweeping shot above the mid-Atlantic ridge. As the camera sweeps above the ridge, the scale of this hidden world becomes clear. A vast interconnected realm, alive with movement and mystery. Visuals, the camera slowly rising toward the sunlit surface. The journey from the shadowed depths to the sunlit surface reveals the profound connection between these mountains and the ocean above. Visuals, revealing the vastness of this hidden world. Invisible to the human eye, these submerged ranges sustain a living tapestry, woven from millions of years of evolution. In the Atlantic's silent depths, the mountains are alive, with swirling currents, with extraordinary creatures, and with the enduring, mysterious power of the ocean itself. Visuals, satellite view of the Atlantic Ocean. Visuals, swirling cloud systems stretching across its vast expanse. From the silent vantage of space, the Atlantic Ocean unfurls as a living tapestry, its surface restless, crowned by ever-shifting veils of cloud. Here, the interplay of water and atmosphere is ceaseless, a dynamic ballet that orchestrates the planet's weather. This is not merely a body of water, but a colossal engine, its currents and winds shaping the climate of continents, its influence rippling outward to touch every corner of the globe. Visuals, moving clouds and waves. The Atlantic's surface is a stage for atmospheric drama, where the energy of the sun meets the cool embrace of the sea, fueling the cycles that define our world's climate. Visuals, close-up of the Gulf Stream. At the heart of this system lies the Gulf Stream, a powerful, invisible river within the ocean itself. Visuals, ribbons of warm water snaking northeast from the Gulf of Mexico. Born in the sunlit tropics, the Gulf Stream sweeps warm water northward along the American coastline, its path a vibrant ribbon of heat and life. As it journeys, the Gulf Stream acts as a conveyor of warmth, its currents moderating the chill of winter and nurturing the climates of lands far from the equator. Visuals, currents veering east. Eventually, it veers eastward, crossing the vast Atlantic to reach the shores of Europe, where its warmth tempers the seasons and sustains lush landscapes. Visuals, heat haze and storm formation. As the Gulf Stream releases its stored heat into the atmosphere, it becomes a catalyst for powerful weather, moderating winters, fueling storms, and setting the stage for the birth of tempests. Visuals, spinning hurricanes. The Atlantic is the crucible where hurricanes are born, massive, spiraling storms that draw their energy from the ocean's warm surface, growing in strength as they travel. Visuals, hurricanes crossing the ocean. These tempests, sculpted by the interplay of wind and water, can traverse thousands of kilometers, carrying rain, wind, and transformation to distant shores. Visuals, clouds over the Sargasso Sea. Yet, the Atlantic's influence is not confined to storms alone. Its surface is a generator of clouds, a source of moisture that drifts westward, shaping the weather of entire continents. Visuals, clouds traveling. Atmospheric rivers, bands of moist air, sweep across the ocean, delivering life-giving rain to parched lands and sculpting the rhythm of the seasons. Visuals, bands of clouds near the equator. Near the equator, the Atlantic becomes a meeting ground for trade winds, giving rise to the Intertropical Convergence Zone, a belt of thunderstorms and torrential rain that migrates with the sun. Visuals, tropical storms and rainforests. This zone is the heartbeat of the tropics, driving monsoons and nourishing the rainforests of Africa and the Americas, sustaining ecosystems that depend on its seasonal pulse. Visuals, global map overlays. The Atlantic's reach is global. Animated arrows trace its influence, currents and winds that stretch from the Americas to Europe and Africa, weaving a web of climate connections. Visuals, European coastlines. Europe's mild winters and verdant landscapes are gifts of the Atlantic's warmth, carried across the ocean by invisible hands. Visuals, African droughts and floods. In Africa, subtle shifts in Atlantic sea surface temperatures can tip the balance between drought and flood, altering the fate of millions and reshaping landscapes. Visuals, ribbons of warm and cold water looping between hemispheres. Beneath the surface, a hidden world of deep currents flows, cold water moving south, warm water drawn north, forming the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation. Visuals, global ocean conveyor belt. This vast conveyor belt regulates Earth's climate, storing and redistributing heat, and ensuring the stability of weather patterns across hemispheres. Visuals, transition from storm to calm. From the fury of storms to the serenity of dawn, the Atlantic's moods are reflected in every shift of wind and wave. Visuals, raindrops and windswept water. Each droplet of rain, each gust of wind carries the signature of the Atlantic, its unseen hand guiding the cycles of weather and climate. Visuals, panoramic Atlantic, slow-motion clouds. Under a vast sky, the Atlantic stretches to the horizon, silent, immense and ever-changing, its rhythms echoing through the atmosphere. Visuals, serene seascape at sunrise. The Atlantic Ocean is the world's greatest weather maker, its currents and winds shaping life far beyond its shores, its legacy written in the clouds, the rain, and the seasons that define our world. Visuals, expansive aerial shot of the Atlantic's turquoise shallows. The Atlantic Ocean stretches before us, a living tapestry of colour and movement. Its shallow turquoise waters, seen from above, are more than just beautiful. They are the cradle of countless marine lives, each dependent on the health of this vast ecosystem. Visuals, transitioning to deep indigo waters. As the camera glides from the sunlit shallows to the mysterious depths, we witness the immense diversity of habitats that the Atlantic shelters, each with its own vulnerabilities and strengths. Across this immense expanse, the Atlantic faces unprecedented challenges. The natural rhythms of tides and currents are now intertwined with the consequences of human activity. Conservation is no longer a distant ideal. It is an urgent, ongoing mission, one that demands innovation, vigilance, and global cooperation to protect the ocean's fragile equilibrium and the intricate web of life it supports. Visuals, drone footage of pristine coral reefs teeming with fish. In the Atlantic's sun-drenched shallows, coral reefs flourish as underwater cities. These vibrant structures provide shelter, food, and breeding grounds for thousands of species, forming the backbone of coastal marine biodiversity. Visuals, fading to reefs blighted by bleaching. Yet these reefs are under siege. Rising ocean temperatures and acidification trigger mass bleaching events, leaving once thriving habitats ghostly and barren. Coral reefs, the nurseries of the Atlantic, are monitored by a network of underwater sensors and autonomous submersibles. These silent sentinels record subtle changes in temperature, pH, and oxygen, providing early warnings of stress. Restoration teams, equipped with delicate tools, carefully replant fragments of resilient coral, nurturing them in underwater nurseries before returning them to the wild, each fragment a promise of renewal. Visuals, school of tuna gliding past a marine protected area boundary. In deeper waters, marine protected areas serve as sanctuaries. Here, schools of tuna glide past invisible boundaries, safe from the relentless pressure of commercial fishing. Visuals, animated overlay highlighting the zone. These protected zones are mapped with precision, their boundaries enforced by a new generation of technology. Patrol drones and satellites scan the horizon, tracking vessels and ensuring that these refugees remain undisturbed. Within these sanctuaries, populations of sharks, turtles, and other migratory species are given a chance to recover. The effectiveness of these areas depends on constant vigilance. Real-time data from satellites and acoustic sensors help conservationists respond swiftly to illegal incursions, making enforcement as dynamic as the ocean itself. Visuals, time-lapse of fishing boats at night. Beyond the boundaries, the Atlantic's fisheries operate day and night. The glow of fishing vessels on the horizon is a reminder of the ocean's bounty and its vulnerability. Visuals, bioluminescent plankton glowing beneath. Beneath the surface, bioluminescent plankton shimmer in the darkness, their delicate forms drifting through the currents, unseen victims of overfishing and habitat disruption. Overfishing remains a formidable threat. International treaties set strict quotas, and innovative fisheries employ selective gear to minimize bycatch, sparing vulnerable species. Electronic monitoring systems and onboard observers provide transparency, but the sheer scale of the Atlantic makes comprehensive oversight a constant challenge. Visuals, slow pan across a remote beach littered with plastic debris. Even the most isolated shores are not immune. Plastic debris, carried by currents, accumulates on remote beaches, a stark testament to the ocean's interconnectedness. Visuals, underwater scenes of microplastics drifting among plankton. Below the waves, microplastics drift among plankton, infiltrating the food web at its foundation. Conservationists deploy floating barriers at river mouths, intercepting debris before it can disperse into the open sea. Research teams meticulously analyze plankton samples, tracing the journey of microplastics through marine ecosystems and assessing their impact on everything from zooplankton to apex predators. Visuals, satellite image of the Sargasso Sea. The Sargasso Sea, a unique floating habitat, is monitored from space. Its golden mats of sargassum provide shelter for juvenile fish, turtles, and countless invertebrates. Visuals, overlaid with animated migratory paths of eels and turtles. Across the Atlantic, invisible highways guide the migrations of eels and turtles. Conservationists fit these travelers with miniature transmitters, tracking their epic journeys across thousands of kilometers. The data reveals critical stopover points and breeding grounds, informing the creation of new protected areas and guiding international policy. These efforts ensure that the Atlantic's migratory species can complete their life cycles undisturbed by human interference. Visuals, animation showing the spread of invasive lionfish along the Atlantic coast. Invasive species such as the lionfish threaten to unravel delicate ecological balances. Specialized teams of divers remove these voracious predators from reefs, while scientists study the resilience of native species and explore biological controls, seeking ways to restore harmony without further disruption. Visuals, wide shot of a vast seagrass meadow swaying beneath the sunlit surface. Seagrass meadows, stretching beneath the waves, are silent powerhouses. They capture carbon, stabilize sediments, and provide refuge for countless marine creatures. Visuals, close-up of a seahorse clinging to a blade. Restoration projects plant new shoots, carefully anchoring them in the seabed. Each blade supports a miniature world, from camouflaged seahorses to grazing turtles. Salt marshes, too, play a vital role, buffering coasts from storms and filtering runoff. Their preservation is essential for both marine and terrestrial life. Visuals, montage of international summits. Visuals, virtual maps. Conservation in the Atlantic is a global undertaking. International summits and digital platforms bring together scientists, policymakers, and local communities, fostering collaboration across borders. Visuals, animated data flows connecting different regions of the Atlantic. Data sharing networks and joint management plans enable real-time responses to emerging threats, ensuring that conservation strategies are adaptive and informed by the latest science. These efforts weave a safety net for the Atlantic, balancing the needs of people and ecosystems and forging a path toward sustainable coexistence. Visuals, final slow-motion shot of a wave cresting at sunset. As the sun dips towards the horizon, a wave crests in slow motion, a symbol of the Atlantic's enduring power and vulnerability. Visuals shimmering with golden light. The ocean's surface glimmers with the promise of renewal, reflecting the collective hope of those who strive to protect it. The Atlantic's future depends on our stewardship, on the resolve to heal, preserve, and respect this living ocean. The challenges are immense, but so too is the potential for recovery. If we act with vision and determination, we can become true guardians of the blue frontier, ensuring that the Atlantic's mysteries and marvels endure for generations to come. Visuals, dynamic animation of the Atlantic Ocean currents, swirling with color-coded nutrients. Beneath the restless surface, the Atlantic Ocean is more than just water in motion. Visuals, close-up animation of iron, nitrogen, and phosphorus molecules drifting with the currents. It is a vast conveyor of life's essential elements, a critical artery in the planet's global nutrient cycles. Visuals, animated cross-section of the ocean showing nutrient-rich deep waters rising toward the surface in upwelling zones. Here, powerful currents and upwelling zones act as nature's mixing bowls, redistributing minerals and nutrients across entire continents and deep into the abyss. Visuals, satellite imagery of the Amazon River, plume fanning into the Atlantic, rich with sediment and nutrients. Every year, billions of tons of nutrients, iron from Saharan dust, nitrogen and phosphorus from river outflows, enter the Atlantic. Visuals, animated cross-section of the ocean showing phytoplankton blooms. These microscopic inputs spark immense blooms of phytoplankton, the ocean's invisible forests, fueling the marine food web from its foundation. Visuals, animated cross-section of the ocean, showing nutrient-rich deep waters rising toward the surface in upwelling zones. In certain regions, cold, nutrient-laden waters well up from the ocean's depths, breathing new life into surface ecosystems. Visuals, animated sequence of plankton populations and marine life. This upwelling feeds explosive growth in plankton populations, which in turn sustains vast schools of fish, whales, and seabirds. Visuals, animated cycle of ocean currents. The cycle is relentless, intricate, and vital. Visuals, satellite imagery of the Amazon River plume fanning into the Atlantic, rich with sediment and nutrients. The Atlantic is uniquely shaped by the world's great rivers. Visuals, animated map showing the Amazon, Congo, and Mississippi rivers. The Amazon, Congo, and Mississippi rivers pour their nutrient-rich waters into the ocean, creating immense plumes that can be seen from space. Visuals, underwater footage of coastal waters. These plumes fertilize coastal waters, supporting some of the world's most productive fisheries and nurturing coral reefs, mangroves, and seagrass meadows. Visuals, deep-sea hydrothermal vent releasing mineral-rich plumes into the dark water. Even in the midnight zones, life persists thanks to the ocean's nutrient flows. Visuals, close-up of unique ecosystems around hydrothermal vents. Hydrothermal vents on the Atlantic seafloor gush superheated mineral-rich water, sustaining unique ecosystems that thrive without sunlight, demonstrating that in the Atlantic, nutrients are as critical as light itself. Visuals, time-lapse animation of the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation, carrying nutrients between hemispheres. On a planetary scale, the Atlantic's mighty currents connect the nutrient cycles of the north and south, transferring heat, salt, and minerals between the tropics and the poles. Visuals, animated globe showing climate influence. This grand circulation not only shapes marine life, but also influences weather, climate, and the very composition of Earth's atmosphere. Visuals, microscopic view of marine snow drifting through the water column. As organisms live, feed, and die, organic matter sinks through the water column as marine snow, a continuous rain of carbon and nutrients to the deep. Visuals, animated sequence showing carbon locking process. This process locks away carbon for centuries, moderating the planet's climate and nourishing mysterious life forms on the ocean floor. Visuals, animated data overlays showing shifts in nutrient flows due to climate change and human activity. Today, the Atlantic's nutrient cycles are under pressure. Visuals, footage of agricultural runoff and pollution. Climate change alters wind patterns and ocean mixing, while agricultural runoff and pollution disrupt delicate chemical balances. Visuals, animated infographics showing effects on marine life. The ripple effects can be profound, triggering harmful algal blooms, oxygen-depleted dead zones, and shifts in marine biodiversity. Visuals, infographic overlay of ongoing scientific monitoring, satellites, autonomous floats, and deep-sea sensors. Scientists use a global network of satellites, robotic floats, and deep-sea sensors to track the Atlantic's nutrient flows in real time. Visuals, animated graphs showing scientific discoveries. Their discoveries reveal a system of astonishing complexity and resilience, but also one that is sensitive to even subtle changes. Visuals, wide aerial shot of the Atlantic at dawn, currents shimmering with light. The Atlantic Ocean is the planet's circulatory system, a dynamic engine that nourishes life, shapes climates, and connects continents. Visuals, animated sequence showing the diversity of marine life. Its nutrient cycles are the silent architects of abundance and diversity, sustaining life from the tiniest plankton to the largest whale. Visuals, slow fade to black with glowing outlines of Atlantic currents and nutrient flows. To understand the Atlantic is to glimpse the invisible threads that bind all life on Earth. Visuals, footage of conservation efforts. Protecting these cycles is not just an act of conservation, it is a commitment to the future of our living planet. Visuals, darkness, the faint blue glow of submersible lights revealing jagged seafloor ridges. Far beneath the Atlantic's restless waves, in a world untouched by sunlight, lie some of Earth's most extraordinary habitats, deep-sea hydrothermal vents. Visuals, close-up of towering black smoker chimneys, billowing clouds of mineral-rich water. Here, at the seams of tectonic plates, the planet's molten core breathes through fissures in the ocean floor. Superheated water, charged with dissolved metals and minerals, erupts from the seabed, transforming the surrounding darkness into a crucible of creation. Visuals, macro shots of shimmering mineral deposits and strange microbial mats clinging to vent walls. Unlike any ecosystem on the planet, life here does not depend on the sun. Instead, it thrives on chemosynthesis, a process in which specialized bacteria convert vent chemicals into energy, forming the foundation of a unique food web. Visuals, slow pans over dense colonies of giant tube worms, their red plumes waving. Towering tube worms, with blood-red plumes, anchor themselves in the mineral crust, harboring symbiotic bacteria within their bodies. These silent sentinels can grow over 2 meters tall, nourished not by sunlight, but by the chemistry of the Earth itself. Visuals, animated cross-section showing vent structure, microbial communities, and energy flow. Intricate networks of life, shrimp with light-sensing organs, ghostly white crabs, and armored limpets crowd around the vents, each adapted to the extremes of heat, pressure, and toxic minerals. Many of these species are found nowhere else, evolving in isolation for millennia. Visuals, high-resolution footage of a newly discovered vent field with robotic arms collecting samples. Each new expedition to these hidden forges reveals biological marvels. Bacteria that consume hydrogen sulfide, animals with metal-infused shells, and even viruses that shape the genetic destiny of entire communities. Visuals, animated visualization of vent plumes dispersing minerals and microbes into the deep. The influence of these vents extends far beyond their glowing pillars. Plumes of mineral-rich water spread across the ocean floor, seeding distant habitats with nutrients and new life. Visuals, montage of scientists analyzing vent samples aboard research vessels, digital models of vent ecosystems. Recent discoveries in the Atlantic's vent fields have redefined our understanding of life's resilience and origins. These ecosystems may hold clues to the earliest life on Earth, and even the possibility of life on other worlds. Visuals, wide shot of vent landscape fading into darkness, bioluminescent creatures drifting past. The Atlantic's hydrothermal vents are not just geological wonders, they are living laboratories, where the boundaries of biology are constantly redrawn. In the eternal midnight of the deep, life finds a way, revealing the profound connections between the Earth's inner fire and the ocean's living tapestry. Visuals, slow aerial sweep over the vast rolling surface of the Atlantic Ocean, sunlight glinting off endless waves. The Atlantic Ocean is more than a conduit for life and energy. It is a colossal engine in the battle against climate change. Visuals, animated globe highlighting the Atlantic's currents and vast expanse. Beneath these restless waters, a silent process unfolds, capturing carbon from the atmosphere and locking it away for centuries, even millennia. Visuals, close-up animation of phytoplankton blooms, tiny cells absorbing CO2. This is the ocean's unseen service carbon sequestration. Visuals, time-lapse of phytoplankton bloom expanding across the North Atlantic seen from space. The process begins at the surface, where microscopic phytoplankton harness sunlight and carbon dioxide in a flurry of photosynthesis. Visuals, macro animation of marine snow drifting downwards, illuminated by beams of light. These microscopic plants are the ocean's green lungs, absorbing vast quantities of carbon with every passing day. Visuals, cross-section animation of the Atlantic, following marine snow as it descends. As phytoplankton die or are consumed by zooplankton, Much of this carbon is packaged into organic particles, tiny fragments of once living matter. Visuals, detailed CGI of carbon being buried in seabed sediments, layering over millennia. Known as marine snow, these particles sink slowly, drifting through the water column like a gentle snowfall in the abyss. Visuals, dynamic animation of the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation, deep blue currents plunging and rising. Some of this carbon-rich debris is intercepted by deep-sea creatures, fueling hidden food webs. Visuals, underwater footage of ancient sediment cores being extracted by robotic submersibles, but much continues its descent, reaching the ocean floor thousands of meters below. Visuals, broad sweep from abyssal plain to surface, sunlight filtering down. Here in the cold, dark sediments, carbon is entombed, effectively removed from the atmosphere for geological timescales. Visuals, scientific diagrams overlaying real ocean footage illustrating carbon fluxes and sequestration rates. The Atlantic's mighty currents play a crucial role in this process, carrying surface waters rich in dissolved carbon into the deep ocean. Visuals, digital model of future climate scenarios with and without ocean carbon uptake. This biological pump transforms the Atlantic into a vast carbon vault, regulating the planet's climate in ways both subtle and profound. Visuals, underwater footage of ancient sediment cores being extracted by robotic submersibles. Recent research reveals the Atlantic stores more carbon below 1,000 meters than any other ocean basin, an immense reservoir that buffers the effects of human emissions. Visuals, data overlays of temperature rise and altered currents. By studying these silent archives, scientists unlock the story of past climates and glimpse the ocean's evolving role as Earth's carbon guardian. Visuals, broad sweep from abyssal plain to surface, sunlight filtering down. The Atlantic's power to sequester carbon is not limitless. Visuals, data overlays of temperature, rise and altered currents. Warming waters, changing currents and ocean acidification threaten to disrupt these delicate cycles. Visuals, slow aerial sweep over the vast rolling surface of the Atlantic Ocean, sunlight glinting off endless waves. Yet, as long as life thrives in these blue depths, the Atlantic will remain one of nature's most formidable allies in the fight to stabilize our climate, a vast living carbon vault quietly shaping the future of our planet. Visuals, slow descent through dark blue water, faint particles drifting past. Visuals, camera approaches a vast, flat sea floor stretching endlessly into blackness. Far below the sunlit waves, where light surrenders to eternal night, lies one of the Atlantic's most enigmatic realms, the abyssal plains. Visuals, expansive drone-like sweeps over rippled, sediment-covered plains. Visuals, punctuated by occasional rocky outcrops. Here, at depths often exceeding 5,000 meters, the ocean floor transforms into a silent kingdom, a world of stillness and subtle motion, covering millions of square kilometers. Visuals, macro shots of fine sediment grains settling. Visuals, creating a smooth, almost featureless landscape. This is one of the flattest, most uniform regions on Earth, sculpted over eons by the slow rain of marine snow and the gentle drift of deep currents. Visuals, close-ups of pale, ghostly creatures, sea cucumbers. Visuals, brittle stars. Visuals, and burrowing worms, leaving faint trails in the soft mud. Yet the apparent emptiness is an illusion. Visuals, time-lapse of a deep-sea octopus gliding across the plain. Visuals, pausing near a cluster of manganese nodules. Tiny foraminifera build intricate shells from the minerals in the water, forming vast layers of ooze that blanket the Atlantic's basement. Visuals, CGI cross-section of sediment layers. Visuals, highlighting fossilized skeletons and the slow accumulation of organic matter. Scattered across the plains, rare hydrothermal seeps and cold water brine pools create isolated oases, attracting unique communities of bacteria, tube worms and crustaceans. Visuals, zoom in on a patch of brine pool. Visuals, microbial mats glowing faintly under the submersible's lights. The abyssal plains are also a geological archive, each layer of sediment a page in Earth's history, preserving the signatures of ancient climates, volcanic eruptions, and distant asteroid impacts. Visuals, animated timeline overlay showing sediment layers recording millions of years. Despite the crushing pressure and frigid temperatures, the abyssal plains pulse with hidden activity. Scavengers roam, microbes break down organic debris, and mysterious gelatinous creatures drift just above the seafloor. Visuals, slow pan across a field of glass sponges. Visuals and delicate sea pens swaying in the current. Modern technology, autonomous robots and deep-sea submersibles, has only begun to reveal the secrets of this vast, dark domain. Visuals, submersible lights scanning the plain. Visuals, discovering unexpected biodiversity. Each new discovery reminds us, even in the planet's deepest silence, the Atlantic's abyssal plains are alive with complexity, resilience, and stories yet untold. Visuals, final wide shot. Visuals, the camera pulling back into darkness, the faint glow of bioluminescent life flickering across the endless plain. Visuals, animated globe highlighting the Atlantic Ocean in deep blue. Visuals, swirling cloud systems above. From the hidden depths to the restless surface, the Atlantic Ocean is more than a watery expanse. It is a planetary engine orchestrating the weather patterns that shape life across continents. Visuals, time-lapse satellite imagery of swirling hurricane formations over the Atlantic. The story begins with heat. Visuals, sun shining over the ocean. Visuals, ocean surface warming. Solar energy warms the ocean surface, particularly in the tropics, where the Atlantic acts as a colossal heat reservoir. This heat is not confined, it drives the evaporation of water, fueling the formation of clouds and storms that migrate across the ocean and onto distant shores. Visuals, dynamic flow animations of warm and cool water currents, Gulf Stream, North Atlantic drift. Beneath the waves, powerful currents like the Gulf Stream and the North Atlantic drift act as conveyor belts, transporting vast quantities of heat northward. Visuals, map showing the Gulf Stream path. Visuals, North Atlantic drift animation. These currents not only keep Europe's winters milder than those at similar latitudes elsewhere, but also set the stage for dramatic weather events. Visuals, CGI cross-section of ocean and atmosphere, arrows showing warm air rising, cold air sinking. As warm, moist air rises from the Atlantic, it triggers the development of towering thunderheads and cyclones. Visuals, thunderheads forming. Visuals, cyclones developing. The energy released in these storms can span thousands of kilometers, influencing rainfall patterns from the Amazon to the Sahel. Visuals, split-screen drought in Africa, flooding in Europe, both linked by animated Atlantic wind patterns. The Atlantic's surface temperatures can tip the scales between drought and deluge. Visuals, drought conditions in Africa. Visuals, flooding in Europe. During El Niño or La Niña years, subtle shifts in ocean heat ripple outward, altering monsoons, hurricanes, and even the jet stream that steers weather systems across the globe. Visuals, animated map Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation cycles, shifting zones of warmth and coolness. On even longer timescales, the Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation, a natural rhythm of warming and cooling, reshapes climate trends for decades, influencing everything from hurricane frequency to agricultural yields. Visuals, high-altitude view of atmospheric rivers streaming from the Atlantic toward Europe and North America. Every day, the Atlantic breathes moisture and energy into the atmosphere, sending rivers of vapor across continents. Visuals, rivers of vapor forming. Visuals, rain and snow falling. These invisible flows become rain, snow, and storms, vital links in the planet's climate chain. Visuals zoom out to the spinning Earth, with weather systems swirling over the Atlantic. In the grand choreography of global weather, the Atlantic Ocean is both stage and conductor, its pulse felt in every cloud, every breeze, and every storm that sweeps across our world. Visuals, midnight blue, slow pan through deep ocean darkness, visuals, bioluminescent flecks drift by. Beneath the Atlantic's rolling surface lies a world few have ever seen, a hidden realm where Earth's rarest and most mysterious creatures dwell. Here, in perpetual night, evolution has taken unexpected turns, crafting life forms as strange as any in science fiction. Visuals, close-up CGI of a barrel-eye fish, its transparent head revealing glowing green eyes. Meet the barrel-eye fish, a living enigma. Its transparent head shields ultra-sensitive eyes that peer upward through the gloom, detecting the faintest silhouettes of prey drifting above. These eyes can rotate inside their glassy dome, scanning for danger or opportunity in the dark. Visuals, slow reveal of a Dumbo octopus, its ear-like fins gently undulating as it hovers. Gliding silently nearby, the Dumbo octopus flaps its fins like wings, propelling itself with a grace rarely glimpsed by human eyes. Unlike its shallow water cousins, it thrives at crushing depths, surviving where sunlight never reaches and pressure could shatter steel. Visuals, macro shot of a deep-sea siphonophore, its luminous tendrils stretching meters in the black. Even stranger, the siphonophore, a colony of specialized organisms joined as one, drifts through the abyss like a living chandelier. Some siphonophores can reach lengths longer than a blue whale, their delicate, glowing filaments snaring prey in an ethereal trap. Visuals, slow-motion footage of a gulper eel, its mouth unfurling to swallow prey much larger than itself. The gulper eel's oversized jaws can balloon open, engulfing prey with a single gulp. Its stomach expands to accommodate meals many times its own size, a clever adaptation to scarcity in the deep. Visuals, brief flashes of the ghostly deep-sea anglerfish, its bioluminescent lure glowing in darkness. And then, the deep-sea anglerfish, rarely seen, often imagined. Its lantern-like lure glows with living light, drawing unsuspecting prey within striking distance of its needle-sharp teeth. In this world, light is both weapon and lure, a precious currency in the void. Visuals, montage of all creatures drifting together in the vast, silent dark. These extraordinary beings are more than curiosities. They are survivors, each one a testament to life's ingenuity in the face of impossible odds. The Atlantic's rarest creatures remind us that much of our planet remains unexplored, its greatest secrets waiting in the silent black between the waves. Visuals fade to black, only bioluminescent lights remain, twinkling like distant stars. In the deep Atlantic, mystery endures, and the story of life is still being written, far from the sun, in the silent heart of the sea. Visuals and slow descent through dark blue water, visuals faint shimmering from below. Beneath the tranquil surface of the Atlantic lies a world shaped by fire, a vast landscape of underwater volcanoes, hidden from human eyes, but vital to the ocean's story. Visuals, CGI cross-section reveals magma rising through the mid-Atlantic ridge, glowing orange against black rock. These submerged giants, known as seamounts and volcanic ridges, are the restless architects of the seafloor, forging new land in the planet's deepest shadows. Visuals, close-up of pillow lava flows billowing clouds of mineral-rich water and newborn seafloor. At the heart of the Atlantic, the mighty mid-Atlantic ridge stretches for thousands of miles, a colossal rift where tectonic plates slowly drift apart. Visuals, molten rock surges upward from Earth's mantle, erupting in spectacular, unseen displays. Here, molten rock surges upward from Earth's mantle, erupting in spectacular, unseen displays. Visuals, new mountains forming, continents being pushed apart. Each eruption builds new mountains, pushes continents apart, and reshapes the very architecture of the ocean basin. Visuals, hydrothermal vents spewing superheated water, shimmering with dissolved metals. When lava meets cold seawater, it hardens instantly, forming strange bulbous shapes called pillow lavas. Visuals, each flow releases a torrent of minerals. Iron, manganese, and rare earth elements, transforming the chemistry of the ocean and fueling entire ecosystems in their wake. Visuals, time-lapse of hydrothermal vents and surrounding life. These volcanic landscapes are also the birthplace of hydrothermal vents, cracks in the crust where scalding, mineral-laden water erupts into the sea. Visuals, life thriving in total darkness. Around these vents, life thrives in total darkness, nourished not by sunlight, but by the energy and nutrients born of fire and stone. Visuals, time-lapse of volcanic plume dispersing nutrients. The impact of these volcanoes reaches far beyond the abyss. Visuals, microscopic plankton, blooms above. Their eruptions send plumes of nutrients swirling upward, sparking blooms of microscopic life that ripple through the Atlantic's food web. Visuals, wide shot of the vast mid-Atlantic ridge stretching into darkness. In this way, the hidden fires beneath the waves sustain life from the ocean floor to the surface. Visuals dotted with volcanic peaks and glowing vents. The Atlantic's underwater volcanoes are silent giants, shaping continents, nurturing life, and reminding us that even in the darkest depths, the Earth is alive and ever-changing. Visuals, fire and water dance in eternal partnership. Here, fire and water dance in eternal partnership, forging the future of the ocean, one eruption at a time. Visuals, ancient parchment maps unfurling across a dark blue background. Visuals, inked coastlines of Africa, Europe, and the Americas fading into view. Long before satellites and compasses, the Atlantic Ocean was a realm of mystery. A vast, restless expanse that beckoned the bold and haunted the dreams of civilizations. Visuals, silhouettes of Phoenician ships gliding across stylized, shimmering waves. Visuals, constellations slowly rotating overhead. To ancient peoples, this ocean was both a barrier and a bridge, shaping legends, trade, and the very course of human history. Visuals, ancient Greek astronomers charting stars with armillary spheres. Visuals, mythic sea monsters swirling in the depths. For the Phoenicians, the Atlantic was the edge of the known world, a place where the sun was said to sink each night into the river Oceanus. Guided by the stars and the rhythm of the tides, these early mariners dared to push beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the twin rocks guarding the gateway between the Mediterranean and the great unknown. Visuals, Viking longships cresting foamy swells. Visuals, their sails catching golden dawn light. Visuals, runes etched on weathered driftwood. To Greek philosophers and poets, the Atlantic inspired tales of lost worlds. Atlantis, swallowed by the waves, and the Elysian fields, paradise at the ocean's farthest shore. Visuals, stylized compass roses spinning above churning blue. Visuals, African griots recounting tales beside flickering firelight. These myths echoed across time, blending wonder with warning and fueling quests for lands beyond the horizon. Visuals, waves echoing in the night. Centuries later, Norse explorers traced the ocean's icy margins, reading the swell of the sea and the flight of seabirds. Visuals, their sagas tell of Vinland, lush shores glimpsed beyond the mists. Visuals, hinting at transatlantic crossings centuries before Columbus. Their sagas tell of Vinland, lush shores glimpsed beyond the mists, hinting at transatlantic crossings centuries before Columbus. Visuals, overlay of ancient maps dissolving into starfields. Visuals, the Atlantic shimmering as a vast, living presence. Along Africa's Atlantic coast, oral histories and navigational wisdom passed from generation to generation. Visuals, the ocean's winds and currents becoming living maps. The ocean's winds and currents became living maps, guiding traders, fishermen, and storytellers alike. Visuals, gentle waves rolling beneath a canopy of stars. Visuals, the horizon blurred between dream and discovery. Across cultures and centuries, the Atlantic inspired both awe and ambition, a place where myth and reality merged, and humanity's urge to explore met the ocean's enduring mystery. Visuals, echoes of those ancient journeys lingering in the names we give to winds, currents, and distant lands. Even today, the echoes of those ancient journeys linger in the names we give to winds, currents, and distant lands. Visuals, gentle waves rolling beneath a canopy of stars. Visuals, the horizon blurred between dream and discovery. In every legend, every voyage, the Atlantic has been both a challenge and a muse, shaping the stories we tell and the paths we dare to follow across the ever-changing blue. Visuals, slow aerial drift over the vast Atlantic. Visuals, subtle seasonal transitions coloring the water's surface. Beneath the Atlantic's restless waves, a silent clockwork unfolds. Each year, the ocean's pulse quickens and slows, choreographing a grand ballet of life, from the icy margins of the north to the sun-warmed tropics below. Visuals, animated currents swirling. Visuals, shifting as invisible forces drive them. With the tilt of Earth's axis, sunlight angles change, ocean temperatures shift, and powerful currents like the Gulf Stream awaken or recede. These seasonal surges are more than meteorological events. They are lifelines, setting the tempo for migrations, blooms, and feeding frenzies across thousands of miles. Visuals, swells of plankton, glowing in turquoise upwelling zones. Visuals, viewed from above, in spring as sunlight returns to higher latitudes. Nutrient-rich waters rise from the deep. Here, microscopic phytoplankton erupt in dazzling blooms, painting the ocean with emerald and jade. This explosion is the foundation of the Atlantic's food web, nourishing vast schools of herring, mackerel, and sardines. Visuals, clouds of fish swirling through green-lit water. Visuals, followed by dolphins and seabirds. Predators follow in a timeless procession. Dolphins, whales, and seabirds converge on these feasts, their migrations synchronized with the ocean's invisible calendar. Along the continental shelves, cod and haddock lay their eggs, trusting that their young will hatch as food is most abundant. Visuals, deep-sea camera reveals mysterious nocturnal migrations. Visuals, lanternfish and squid rising toward the surface at dusk. Even in the perpetual twilight of the midwater, the changing seasons trigger vertical migrations. Every night, billions of lanternfish and squid ascend from the depths, drawn by the promise of plankton-rich waters, a nightly cycle, amplified by the year's turning. Visuals, coral reefs in the tropics. Visuals, spawning clouds drifting on moonlit tides. Farther south, coral reefs time their mass spawnings to the lunar and seasonal cycles, sending clouds of eggs and larvae into the currents. These drifting offspring ride the Atlantic's gyres, seeding new life across distant shores. Visuals, sea turtles emerging on moonlit beaches. Visuals, hatchlings racing to the surf. On remote beaches, sea turtles return with astonishing precision, guided by temperature and ancient instinct. Their hatchlings, born under summer stars, dash for the waves, joining the vast seasonal tide of new beginnings. Visuals, montage of changing seasons. Visuals, stormy winter swells. Visuals, tranquil summer blue. Visuals, autumnal fogs rolling over the water. This rhythmic dance is ancient, yet fragile. As climate change disrupts temperatures and currents, these cycles grow unpredictable. The timing of plankton blooms shifts, migrations falter, and the Atlantic's intricate web of life is tested as never before. Visuals close up on a swirl of plankton. Visuals ripple outward to reveal the open ocean teeming with possibility. Yet in every season, the Atlantic's pulse endures, a living metronome guiding the rise and fall of life beneath the waves. It is a reminder that in the ocean's timeless rhythms, the fate of countless species and our own remains inextricably linked. Visuals fade to the endless blue. Visuals are new dawn breaking on the horizon. Visuals plunge into darkness, camera descending past the sunlit surface into inky blue depths. Beneath the Atlantic's rolling waves lies a realm few eyes have ever seen, a world of crushing pressure, perpetual night, and secrets older than humanity itself. Here, in the hidden trenches that scar the ocean floor, scientists are only beginning to map the unknown. Visuals, animated bathymetric map revealing deep trenches such as the Puerto Rico Trench and Romanche Trench in glowing relief. These chasms, some deeper than Mount Everest is tall, form the Atlantic's last frontiers. Each expedition into their depths is a leap into mystery, where the rules of life are rewritten by darkness, cold, and isolation. Visuals, robotic submersibles gliding over trench walls, lights slicing through black water. Aboard remotely operated vehicles, researchers peer into the abyss, discovering landscapes sculpted by tectonic forces and time. Hydrothermal chimneys rise like alien spires, fields of manganese nodules stud the silty plains. Visuals, close-ups of never-before-seen creatures, translucent amphipods, ghostly eel-pout fish, soft-bodied octopuses drifting in slow motion. Here, evolution takes unexpected turns. In 2019, scientists documented new species of amphipods with transparent armor, their bodies shimmering with internal light. Visuals, pale octopus, nicknamed the Casper, floating above the sediment. In another trench, a pale octopus, nicknamed the Casper, floats above the sediment, its existence unknown until the camera's eye found it. Visuals, time-lapse of deep-sea microbial mats pulsing with faint bioluminescence, robotic arm collecting samples. Each sample retrieved from these depths can rewrite what we know about life's resilience. Microbes thriving in chemical seeps hint at the origins of life on Earth, and perhaps beyond it. Visuals, animated data streams and genetic sequences overlaying footage of new species, highlighting scientific breakthroughs. With every descent, the Atlantic's unexplored trenches yield new chapters, species with bizarre adaptations, novel compounds with potential for medicine, and entire ecosystems built on sulfur and methane rather than sunlight. Visuals, wide shot of the trench fading into darkness, a single submersible light glowing in the distance. Yet, for all we've found, 90% of the Atlantic's trenches remain uncharted. The search continues, driven by curiosity and the promise that the greatest discoveries may still be waiting, hidden in the silence of the deep. Visuals fade to black, bioluminescent creatures swirling like stars in the abyss.